First off, congratulations on the film.
Thank you.
I told you yesterday I loved it, and I did love it.
Yeah.
We haven't had many of these movies for a while. I know Kenneth Branagh made Orient Express a couple of years ago, and he's going to make another one. Why do you think it is that we haven't had many of these kind of movies? Because they give the audience so much, whether it's laughter, whether it's suspense. I mean, why do you think that is that we haven't had too many?
I don't know. I think there's just kind of the fashion of different types of movies ebbs and flows. But it's funny, though, even though there haven't been a ton recently, whenever I would tell people that I was working on a whodunit, you could just see that warm glow in their eyes. It's a genre that has a lot of affection for it, I think, and you can tell why. It's such a fun genre. It's something that just you're going to get like a mystery, and you're going to get all these great big characters in it, and it's something that most people love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forgive me if this is wrong, but I think this is something you've been working on for a while, maybe before Star Wars and everything.
About 10 years, 10 years ago, I had the idea for it. Yeah.
Was this one of the things that you wrote very early in your career? And because there's a lot of directors that, when they're starting out, have ideas that have to kind of wait and do the process before they get to that point.
I mean, I had the idea for it. I didn't write it a long time ago. I basically had like the idea, and I was always turning it over in my mind and thinking of it. But then I just sat down to write it last year, and it all came together very, very quickly. But I grew up reading Agatha Christie books since I was a kid. And I've kind of just always wanted to do a classic whodunit. It's just, I don't know, it's just a genre that I've always wanted to attack. But yeah, the actual writing I just did last year.
What made you zero in on the house? Because it looks like you shot a lot of it around the house, mixed with, I guess, studio stuff. Or was it essentially just in that house? Because it's such a vast house and such a great landscape to film on, I can imagine.
Yeah, well, I mean, we went to Massachusetts to film because we found that house. Yeah, right when I was finishing writing, we started searching around just on the internet for different houses. And it's funny, like the murder mystery mansion of the mind, everyone kind of has it in their head. And that's what we wanted for that first shot, was like, oh, okay, this is this type of movie. We know exactly where we're at and what we're doing. And also because Christopher Plummer's character is a mystery writer, and it's his house, it was fun because we could fill it up with like all of his obsessions and all of his toys, and we went to town.
Yeah. I mean, this cast is pretty incredible. I've already asked you about Daniel Craig, but even further down the list, when you go to people like Katherine Langford and Jaeden Martell, I mean, it's an incredible ensemble. I mean, were they all the people you wanted from the beginning, or was it just a process where they just kind of all fit into place as you went along?
It's always a process. I never write with anybody in mind. I just kind of like write with a blank slate, and then we figure out who can come and be in it. And I just, as the cast started building up piece by piece, and as all these interesting actors started coming in, Jaeden is fantastic, man. Jaeden and Katherine, they're the two youngest in the cast, and they're both extraordinary. But as the cast started building up, I was just like, oh my God, this is turning into something.
Yeah. I mean, you've got James Bond and Captain America at the top of it, but I wanted to ask you about Ana de Armas, because she's absolutely incredible in the movie, and she has to carry quite a lot of the weight of what's going on.
Yeah.
What made you zero in on her? Because she's had a lot of supporting turns, but really impressive supporting turns in Blade Runner and things like that. And then she's about to go and play Marilyn Monroe, which is
she has finished filming it. Yeah.
What was it about her that kind of made you settle on her?
Well, because I'd seen her in a few things. My casting director, Mary Vernew, was like, you got to take a look at this girl. And when I first saw pictures of her, she's so just like glamorous and gorgeous in real life. She looks completely unlike the character I had in my head. And so I was like, oh, really? But then I saw her, she came in red, and I saw her do a reading, and she just has so much soul, and just she's got one of those faces where just her eyes just beam right off the screen, and she's such a good actor, and she ends up bringing heart to the movie in a way that even though it's a murder mystery, even though it's a whodunit, it was important to me that the movie had essentially a good heart, and you come out of it feeling kind of like feeling good in a way, and I think Ana is a big reason why that works.
There's there's so many incredible things about the movie, but one of the things I wanted to ask about was the editing. There's a couple of sequences where they're all kind of in the room together and they're all feeling each other, probably the Chris Evans eat shit word. Yeah. It's got a real kind of energy to it. I mean, was that you purposely kind of filmed it that way so that you could put everyone in as if they're in a room all talking over each other.
Well, yeah, and also they were just in the room all talking over each other. Yeah, oh yeah, no, it wasn't like how do we manufacture this? Those were the most fun scenes to do. Was when the whole family was together in one room, and we have all these great actors, and they're just all yelling at each other and playing off of each other. I tried to keep the coverage as simple as possible and just cover what it felt like to actually be in that room with them. I didn't want to call cut. I wanted to just let them keep going.
Yeah,
it was
I
fun.
can imagine, yeah. Just finally, I did want to ask you about Star Wars. Obviously, you're potentially going to do another one. Has the experience of doing The Last Jedi set you up a little bit better if you go and do a standalone Star Wars movie? You know, not so much the fan backlash, but just in terms of the scope of the film and everything that kind of comes with it.
I mean, I think every experience, you learn so much from every experience, no matter what it was, and especially a Star Wars movie that's such a long, involved process where you're working with so many talented people. Every movie is like going to graduate school, and Star Wars is like going to 8 graduate schools in a row.
Yeah. Well, listen, I love the movie, and I love Last Jedi as well.
Thanks,
so
man.
Thank you so much for your
Appreciate it.
time. Pleasure.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey,